lack of transparency is a huge political advantage. And basically, call it the stupidity of the American voter or whatever. But basically, that was really, really critical to getting the thing to pass.
No matter how many times I see it, it still riles me up. A taxpayer-paid architect of Obamacare admitting that the law was passed by pulling a fast one on you and most Americans, calling them stupid, not once, not twice, at least 3 or 4, even 5 times. Take a look.
We said, well, that's pretty much the same thing. But why does it matter? I said, you'll see. And they were both in, and that passed. Because the American voter is too stupid to understand the difference. It's a very clever, basic exploitation of the lack of economic understanding of the American voter.
So as Republicans look to undo Obamacare, will this prove to be the final nail in the law's coffin? Hi, everybody. I'm David Asman. Welcome to Forbes on Fox. Let's go in focus to find out with Elizabeth McDonald, Rich Karlgaard, Sabrina Schaefer here in New York, along with Mike Ozanian and Rick Unger. Sabrina, is this a game changer in reversing the law?
It's absolutely going to change things, and here's why. One of the big challenges with building a coalition against Obamacare is that it's hard to move opinion. Everybody has heard these arguments about rising costs and lower care and harder to keep your doctor. They've heard them so many times that it doesn't work anymore. But when you inject a new message into the conversation, when you talk about how, especially one this stupid, about how the American people were fools, this is apt to have a big change in voter preferences.
And Rick, the message is deception. Deception was used to sell the bill. By the way, even before we got the Gruber tapes, we have this poll showing that most Americans do think there was misrepresentation in selling Obamacare.
Yeah, the message that Gruber is saying is indeed deception. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I agree with his message, but I'm not going to argue and defend him in any way, shape, or form. And let's be honest, I could take apart everything he said and show where I don't think it's true. It doesn't matter. For those who are against this law, and we know that there are many, this will only serve to reinforce their belief, and I'm not going to be able to change that.
Right. And by the way, Emag, this is not just anybody. This was one of the main architects. The Washington Post referred to him as the coin of the realm in coming up with an economic model on Obamacare. Now, we knew the numbers didn't add up. Right. We've been saying that for a couple of years now, but clearly they knew that the numbers didn't add up, too.
Yeah, and it goes beyond just calling him in for hearings or, undoing Obamacare. He should be indicted for criminal brainlessness, this guy. There are more videos showing him saying nitwitted nonsense than there are airplane movies right now. So the issue is, David, is that the American people and Congress were misled into supporting this law, saying the administration said it would basically lower your insurance premiums. You could get to keep your doctor. It would lower the deficit. It would create jobs. None of that happened. There should be hearings into this. And by the way, we have 2 million fewer full-time workers than we had in 2007 and more part-time jobs. You need those jobs to even pay for this thing. There needs to be hearing into what Gruber said and a pullback on Obamacare.
Well, and again, because it is such a deception, the tactic that was used was really based in deception, Mike Ozanian. And the deception continues, by the way. Pelosi, Congresswoman Pelosi, claims, even though she was working with him, that she never heard of this guy. Take a look.
I don't know who he is. He didn't help write our bill.
But back in 2009, she had a different story about him. Listen.
Our bill brings down rates. I don't know if you have seen Jonathan Gruber of MIT's analysis.
So the deception on the part of the people that sold this thing continues even today, Mike.
David, I'm not going to argue with the deception point you're making. It's absolutely correct. But I do disagree with Sabrina. I don't think that this is a game changer in public opinion. What Obamacare is about is the redistribution of wealth. And those American voters who believe in the redistribution of wealth are still going to support Obamacare.
But, Rich, I must disagree with my friend Mike, because this really is the face of what's wrong with America. This is the face. Gruber has become the face of what the election last week was all about. Look at, by the way, we've looked into the guy's finances. It's not just the $400,000 that he was paid for his Obamacare consulting. He had $2 million worth of contracts with HHS that go back 7 years. Plus, he has a lot of contracts with individual states. So from federal level to the state level, this guy's a money machine. This is the kind of person that Washington relies on.
Yeah, even more than the use of the word stupidity, I loved his use of the word whatever, because whatever really sums up this whole administration. Screw the middle class, whatever. Screw the working class, whatever. Right. Damage the healthcare system, damage the internet, whatever. You know, it perfectly sums it up. Will it have any impact? It really boils down, I think, to what the Supreme Court is going to do when it takes it up in March. The swing voters will be Chief Justice Roberts and Justice Kennedy. And will this make a difference? We'll see.
Emac, what do you think about that?
Yeah, you know, Rich brings up a good point, because apparently Gruber did weigh in on that, too. And he said the tax credits were really only meant for the state health exchanges, not the federal exchanges. And that is now going to the Supreme Court. What I want to know is what regulations, what increased taxes, what about a more intrusive IRS that Americans were too stupid to know about ahead of time? And we have now even Gruber talking about how in Massachusetts they purposely set up their version of health care reform by taking $400 million from taxpayers. So that is theft from the American people. There needs to be hearings into that.
Well, and what it boils down to, Rick, and another tape that he's in, it boils down to wealth redistribution. That's what Obamacare was about.
Well, I got to say, the two people that I'm inclined to disagree with the most both made some really good points. Michael is right when he says this isn't going to change the future of Obamacare, because you still have President Obama in the White House. Nothing's going away as long as he's there. Liz makes a great point, though, when she points out what he said about about this case that's coming before the Supreme Court. We don't know how much the court will take notice of what he said. They're not really supposed to, but they're human beings. It could be an impact, and it would be a huge impact if they do pay attention.
But Sabrina, we were told time and again this was going to save Americans money. Clearly, they didn't believe it was going to save Americans money when they were saying it.
No, of course. Look, that's just a lie. And I think that, look, both Mike and Rick raise an important point, which is that there have been a lot of ups and downs with Obamacare, right? There was a failed implementation, but then there was a win in the courts, right? There's been all sorts of things that have gone up and down. So I understand that this may not be the game changer that everyone wants it to be. That being said, usually Republicans are the ones who are caught in policy wonk language, right? Now we're down to the individual. We're attacking the individual American person out there. That's going to resonate in a way that cost language and GDP and prices, that's not going to.
And Rich, we're getting away from the weeds of the minutia of what the law is and whether it's very clear now. It's deception. The law is deceptive. The people that were selling it were deceiving the American public, and they're deceiving them now with Nancy Pelosi's statements.
Yeah, that's really despicable, Nancy Pelosi's recent statements. But, you know, all of this is occurring in a context of economic growth that is not widely distributed. And, you know, every voter who was polled in the 2014 elections that occurred a couple of weeks ago, the economy was the #1 issue. And so, you know, you've got the deception, but even worse, you've got the deception in an environment where people are pretty hacked off because of the economy.
Mike, I think Rich makes a terrific point that this is an administration that prides itself on equality, on equaling things, particularly economically, and it's actually the actual effects of these policies go in the opposite direction.
Well, I'll have to go back and paraphrase Winston Churchill, who said socialism is nothing more than equal sharing of misery. That's what Obamacare is.
I think we're going to leave on that brilliant notion. All right.